All right, Rachel, how are you today?
Goody good.
You're looking
David Spur-
goody. You're looking beautiful today.
Thanks.
And it's been fun working together. Enjoyed our lunch. I really do love we just get to kind of do whatever. It's great. All right, so I got a question for you. Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Okay. What would you say is a great tip or a great perspective shift that any couple anywhere could benefit from?
I would love to encourage couples in helping them to shift their perspective on the fact that every single couple has snags.
What?
I know, right? Every single couple has snags because every single couple is made up of two humans.
Yeah.
And two people that have had lifetimes of experience before,
Mm-hmm.
meeting each other, two different upbringings, two different spiritual backgrounds, different pain.
Value systems.
Yeah, two different value systems.
Kind of family
pain,
rules.
Worldviews even.
Yeah.
And even though if you're very aligned with your spouse, there's still going to be a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And so I just want to encourage couples that this is normal. And in fact, it's God's secret design to our healing for you to have a spouse that challenges you in certain areas. And when those snags happen, it is a great opportunity for learning and healing. Until the day I die, I want to be learning and growing and healing and becoming more like Christ. And so every single couple experiences stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I think that most couples almost get confused by what they see in the world, and then they second guess themselves, because what they're seeing in the world right now is they're seeing the highlight reel on social media. They're seeing the perfectly, posed, cute family photo sessions, with teddy bears and puppies and rivers and stuff like that. I say that because, our engagement photos, we had a litter of puppies in the photos with us. So I can talk about, cliche photos, but I loved our photos, by the way.
Yeah.
And to Monica and Jason, we loved our photos. We love you guys. But yeah, everyone is used to seeing a perfect version of everyone, Again, the highlight reel, the posts on Facebook, they see them at church all dressed up. What they don't realize is for a lot of couples, they were fighting in the car on the way to church, became perfect as soon as that van door came open. And then as soon as they get out of church and back into the car, whatever wasn't finished starts right back up again. And I'm not saying that's every couple everywhere every day. Yeah. But I think for a lot of couples, it's really discouraging. I'm glad you picked this topic. It's really discouraging because it's good. Because it's so easy to compare yourself to someone else's, just their glimpses of the best parts of their day. And I think that people love the idea of vulnerability and they love the idea of being real, but most people aren't actually willing to get to that place, and then other people don't experience in that way.
I think also people are scared, especially in the Christian community, because they don't want to put a bad color on Jesus, because they have, if they're following Jesus, they're worried that if they admit these things that they don't have figured out, or like they have these imperfections, that it means something bad about Christ. Like, oh, well, he hasn't redeemed this, or he hasn't answered this prayer. He hasn't just like healed this in me. Well,
and another layer to that is I think a lot of Christians are afraid to admit when they struggle, because then people are going to think something's wrong with their faith.
Yeah.
Not just that it could paint a bad light on the typical Christian or on the, the witness of being a Christian. But I think a lot of Christians are like, hey, here's what I learned. All I got to do is read my Bible. All I got to do is pray. All I got to do is go to church, and my marriage should be epic. Like God will make all my paths straight. Like it'll be all good. And then they're like, well, shoot, like we're praying, we're reading the Bible together, we're going to church together, like we're doing all these things, but marriage still feels hard. And if I share that with anyone, maybe they'll question if I'm actually like a real Christian or not. They'll question my level of faith. I think I don't think this, I know this because we talked to countless couples about this, but a lot of couples believe that like the perceived depth of their faith is somehow relative to how, smooth or easy their marriage is. Yeah. And some of the best people we know, some of the strongest Christians we know, they have big learning opportunities, and but the difference is between them and kind of the normal kind of real world couple, or, great American marriage type couple, is that they're motivated by, no matter what, making their marriage an amazing thing, to honor each other, to honor God. And so they'll wade through whatever waters they have to get to it. But I think what people need to understand is that everyone's wading through waters. Yeah. Is that everyone's going through something. Everyone's got a learning opportunity. Everyone's got a blind spot. Everyone's got an angle to themselves they can't see that their spouse just happens to perfectly see.
Oh, yes.
Better than anyone can, you know? And like you said earlier, like that's part of God's plan for them to be healed, you know, is that
Right, yeah.
God knew that for you and I to stay together, we would each have to heal and grow in certain ways.
Yeah.
So I think it's really powerful. Well, and I think a good analogy we've used in the past talking about this is that, you know, in the business world, when we've, you know, merged companies together, things like that, it's like you've got two companies and they've both been around for 22 years, 25 years. And to merge them together typically takes teams and teams of people and hundreds of thousands of dollars to merge those companies together. Yet it's just normal that you take a couple 22-year-olds, or, you know, you were 20 and I was 22, and you're like, oh, yeah, let's just blend these two people together. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yet we don't treat anything else like that in our culture.
Yeah. And literally what led us to do what we do was doing wedding photography. And we saw couples spend $50,000, $100,000 on their wedding, and kid you not, like zero on the actual marriage and figuring out, like, how do we actually be married?
Yeah, that's right.
So that's part of how God shifted, like, just dropped that passion in our hearts.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So,
I mean, we saw a lot of things.
Yeah.
You know? And so, So,
what's one thing that you would want a couple to take away?
ooh, one thing. I think one thing would be really gentle on yourself. Be really gentle on your spouse. You know, we could talk all about marriage researchers like Gottman and all the different schools of thought that we'd like to utilize in our work with couples, and just talk about how important it is to be gentle with each other when you're growing, when you're learning.
Yeah.
You know, it's so easy that when you do trip on the sidewalk to get angry about it, you know, like who messed up the sidewalk there? Who put that hole there? You know, and blame everyone, or just be really angry. You know, of course, the Bible says, in your anger, do not sin. It doesn't say you can't be angry. Like, we can be angry. Like, anger is just, you know, the protest of sadness, right? And so I think that if couples could just be gentle on themselves and be gentle on their spouse when they're learning, that also helps them see the best in their spouse and see the best in themselves as well.
Yeah.
And just have a really soft, humble approach to learning opportunities when you do trip, when you do catch a snag. And I think the theme of being gentle is one of the best things someone could take away from this. Be gentle on yourself and your spouse when you're learning.
Yeah. Because out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. So if you're not being gentle on yourself, it affects how you treat your spouse. So that's good.
That's right.
Gentle both ways.
Yeah.